What do these three pictures have in common? Well, other than the fact that two of them are obviously white guys and all three of them are actually authors, that's not the full answer. Don't worry though, you'll figure it out soon enough. Our journey begins with the first guy, Christopher Hitchens. He once said that, and I quote, "Religion is part of the human makeup. It's also part of our cultural and intellectual history. Religion was our first attempt at literature." As Hitchens explains, religion goes beyond the belief in a higher being. It has impacted the way humans have thought, written, and studied. Now, if we time travel back to Britain in the Middle Ages, which is where Chaucer and our third mystery author is from, we can see clear proof of this. Life was dominated by the church during this time. Chaucer, author of the Canterbury Tales, as well as the unknown author of Beowulf, wrote their characters and stories as a reflection of the society they were present in, one that was heavily influenced by religious ideals. Leading to my point that the beliefs practiced in the church during the Middle Ages had a significant impact on the shaping of characters' roles in society in Beowulf and in the Canterbury Tales. To figure out religion's impact on societal roles, we first need to understand what religion was like at the time. Now, religion has always been an influential part of society, but during the Middle Ages, this was heightened, as the medieval church dominated every aspect of people's lives. Roman Catholicism controlled religion, philosophy, morals, politics, art, and education. Separation of church and state was non-existent, and churches were the center of communities. And those who prayed were at the top of the social hierarchy. Despite its major influence at the time, corruption was evident among the church's highest officials, with some profiting off indulgences, others engaging in sexual relationships, and many uneducated in the true doctrine of Christianity. With that in mind, let's dive into some specific examples, starting with Beowulf. The main villain of the poem is Grendel, described as a fiend out of hell and a monster descended from Cain's clan, whom the creator had outlawed and condemned as outcasts. Right off the bat, we have direct references to religion, such as hell, the creator, and Cain, a biblical figure known as mankind's first murderer. This comparison to Cain is telling of Grendel's role in society. A bit of a sociology lesson here. In sociology, Grendel's descent from Cain gives him the ascribed status of a monster. Ascribed status is assigned to a person by birth, and in modern society without mythical creatures, examples of this would include sex, race, and age. However, in Beowulf, Grendel is deemed a monster from the very beginning. He didn't have a tragic backstory nor trauma to explain his evil acts, but rather the fact that he was simply born that way. Our second example focuses on the protagonist of Beowulf, a character who can often be compared to Jesus. As the hero of the story, character traits to describe Beowulf include honor and bravery, which is shown after defeating Grendel's mother. And I quote, "I've wrested the hilt from the enemy's hand, avenged the evil done to the Danes, it was what was due." As Friedrich Kleber puts it, the story paints Beowulf as, and I quote, "to the rank of a singularly spotless hero. In fact, we need not hesitate to recognize the features of Christian savior in the destroyer of hellish fiends, the warrior brave and gentle." Beowulf's heroic attributes can be traced back to Jesus and their similarities of being the story's savior. Beowulf sacrifices himself at the end to rid the kingdom of evil, similar to Jesus sacrificing himself for humanity. Now moving on to the Canterbury Tales, written and published by Chaucer around 400 years later. One of the pilgrims mentioned early on in the story is the wife of Bath, a woman who husbands at church doors she had 5. In Christianity, divorce and having multiple partners is frowned upon, and is stated in the Bible that the wife should not separate from her husband, but if she does, she should remain unmarried or else reconciled to her husband. The wife of Bath is portrayed in a negative manner, as having 5 husbands, and counting, is against the norm that Christianity put in place. In contrast, another character, the prioress, also known as the nun, is described as delicate and graceful and to be holden dying of reverence. Nuns in society are depicted as soft women, which is telling of the prioress's character description. A stark contrast can be made between the prioress and the wife of Bath, who was not part of the church's estate and was essentially sexualized and seen in a negative manner for her defiance of Bible rule. Perhaps the most corrupt character of the story, the pardoner with feigned flattery and Jape's tricks, he made the parson and the people as apes. Chaucer made it clear that despite his association with the church, the pardoner is a manipulative man and tricks people to gain profit. Not only did religious teachings affect literature at the time, but also the way that religious institutions functioned as well. Chaucer saw the corruption in the church and used that to accurately form the characters of his story, with the pardoner being a direct example. Although it's not as powerful as it was in the Middle Ages, religion and the Catholic Church still hold an influence over the decisions many make today. It is important to acknowledge that certain things people consider normal stem from old religious beliefs. Religion is an important part of many people's lives, but for it to last and be sustainable, it needs to be modernized. And the first step in doing so is analyzing its impact on society.